In this video, I'm going to interview 4 new Joomlers, brought to you by mysites.guru. Get a free site audit for your Joomla site at mysites.guru. Hey there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too. Thanks for tuning into another video here on the Basic Joomla Tutorials video channel, where I show you my favorite extensions, tools, and tips for building and maintaining Joomla sites. I also work on Joomla sites, so I'm available for hire, short-term, long-term, even just to get you out of spot. Drop me an email, tim@cybersalt.com. So anyways, this year I have been blessed to have some university co-op students working for me, for my company, with the help of some government funding. And when the 4 of them came to me, they knew nothing of Joomla. They really hadn't done any building of websites with CMSs anyways. So their time is almost done with me. I thought I would gather them together in a Zoom call, ask them some questions about their impressions about Joomla, talk about some other things, and I hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, let's cut to the video. Okay, you guys, I'm really excited about us doing this interview. Is anybody doing this against their will? Blink if you need help. No, you're all good. All right. Yeah, I've already done the introduction to the video. So at this point, I'm super happy to introduce everyone to Gunur, Rebecca, Soren, and Alejandro. As I mentioned in the intro, these are students that have been doing co-ops with me this year. Gunur's been with me for 8 months and the other 3 for the summer, and it has been really great. So hello, everybody.
Hello. How's it going?
Hey guys.
Hey, Joomla fans.
There you go, Joomla fans. Oh, see, Soren has drunk. He's been drinking the Kool-Aid. That's really good. Great. All right. Well, let's just go around on the order on the screen. I think that Zoom is probably going to record the same order. If you want to introduce yourself and just talk about what you're studying and maybe what your hopes are at this point, because I know that changes a lot when you're doing studies. What you would like to end up doing after graduating, and just talk about where you are along in your course and stuff like that. So let's start with Gunur up there in the top left.
So first of all, hey everyone. As Tim mentioned, I've been making sites with Joomla with Tim for about 8 months at this point. And yeah, I'm an SFU student doing computer science in my 3rd year, I would say. And yeah, as far as what I want to do in the future, I think somewhere along the lines of web development or software development. But working with them definitely has me thinking about opening a new company of my own. So yeah.
Good. And now, is that because I make it look so easy, or because you're sure you could do better than what I'm doing? Don't answer. Okay, Rebecca.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca. I'm currently studying computing science and linguistics at SFU, and I'm going into my 3rd year starting this fall, I think. Yeah, as for my future aspirations, I think I want to be like a computational linguist or a natural language processing engineer. Either that or I might want to go into like research or academia. We'll see. I'm not really sure yet, but it's great to meet you all, Joomla fans.
And Rebecca likes working on technical manuals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. We're going to talk about some volunteer opportunities in Joomla later on that people can take part in. I bet you there's a spot for you. Soren, you're next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Soren. I assist with web development with CyberSalt. I'm currently an SFU student, Simon Fraser University, and I'm taking a technology program called Interactive Arts and Technology, and I'm concentrating interactive systems. What we do is we do a little bit of programming and some web development as well, and as we also focus on some user-centric research and some UX stuff as well. So we take a look at the psychology of how users think on a certain interface. And my dream is, I guess, it's sort of a tough question. Like, still thinking about it, but I was thinking once I graduate, perhaps start studying more about front end development and get into web development in the future. Take some BCIT program along with that and learn some more computer science. And then we'll see from there. Yeah. And
Okay,
yeah,
now
happy to have me.
BCIT is British Columbia Institute of Technology.
Oh, yes.
Right. Yeah. No.
Forgot to elaborate that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have tens of people watching from all over the world. So.
Yeah.
Okay, Alejandro.
Hey guys, how's it going? There's no reply, of course. I'm a student at SFU, and this is my last co-op placement that is required to graduate. And I've done it with CyberSalt Tim. With Tim, and doing web development with Joomla. It's been awesome. I'm an systems engineering major at SFU, doing my 4th year, so I just have my last 2 semesters coming up. And when it comes to dream jobs, I think I've kind of dialed it down. I want to get into the e-bike industry. I've mentioned it to everyone here before, and I think it's a very exciting field with lots of room to grow and opportunities. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Okay, and I've been encouraging Alejandro to do stuff on YouTube around his biking stuff. So I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description below, and you guys can go. And I'll put a little bit of pressure on him to. Yeah. We'll see if we can double your subscribership, because I think you're at like 3 now or something, or 4. 4.
Yeah.
Okay, 4.
So no, it's definitely a project in the incubator, but I'm excited about it, and I think lots of passion can be put into that.
Cool.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, so SFU, Simon Fraser University, is in. It has a couple locations on the mainland. Now, that makes sense to us when I say that, because I'm on Vancouver Island. You guys are on the mainland of British Columbia, so it's like about an hour and a half ferry ride once you get to the ferry terminal from my house here. And so just give us a little bit of information about Simon Fraser University there in the greater Vancouver area, but there's a couple of campuses, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's I don't know who wants to field that one, but I was gonna say, there's a couple campuses. I've actually had classes in both Surrey and Burnaby, which was nice because Surrey was closer to home. And I'm not sure if anyone here has maybe had classes in the Vancouver one. No? Yeah, because there's also a campus in downtown Vancouver, near the Harbor Center, I believe.
So downtown Vancouver, Burnaby, and Surrey. So, okay. And of course, this has been a remote co-op. So we have actually not met in person. We've spent tons of time. Maybe you would describe it differently, but tons of time together in meetings during the co-op. How has it been working remotely? Is this a first remote working experience for all of you guys, or anyone here has done it before?
For me, definitely, this is the first one. And as far as I can say, I think I absolutely love it. I don't know if I want to do it on-site job again.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, I actually kind of like working remotely. I'm more of an inside type of person, so
okay,
I like having the coffee machine next to me and do some laundry and get some snacks. So.
All right. So what are some so there's Soren's favorite thing about working remotely. He's not an outdoor person. He's got coffee and snacks that are right there. What are some of your other favorite things about working remotely? Because actually, and it's relevant for people that are watching this, because a lot of us working on Joomla, especially if we're making some side money or doing it for a job, we are on our own, working at home probably. There are some Joomla companies where people are going in, or they have staff coming and meeting in person, but I think the vast majority are just working on their own at home or somewhere. So what are some of the things and benefits that you like besides the coffee and the snacks?
Well, I think it's the convenience for everyone to get together. There's no need to set up a place to where we have to all commute to. Like, for instance, like Gunnar, he's in India right now, so he can meet up in through Zoom, and it makes it pretty easy for us to get together and catch up, rather than setting up a place to meet, which can be pretty far for some people, some of us. Yeah. especially
Yeah.
all of us living in the mainland and excluding Tim. So,
Yeah, excluding me.
well,
I,
you
you know,
live
I
in
live,
the
I live on
island.
Vancouver Island, and you guys are all excluded.
Yeah, the other way around.
Yeah. When the big earthquake comes, North America is going to drop into the ocean, and Vancouver Island is going to be left. So I forgot to mention that Gurnur is in India. He's gone home for a couple of weeks to visit his family. So that's an advantage of the remote position, because you could just you just let me know you if it was okay going back, and I said yeah, of course. And so you're like now, as we're recording this right now, it is 20 after 12. It's 20 after 12 in the afternoon. And what time is it there?
It's 12:50 a.m. So close to
12:50
1
a.m. Yeah. So you got what's that, 11 and a half hours difference, or
I
is
think
it
12 and a half.
12 and a half?
12
Okay.
and a half. Yeah.
Wow.
Rebecca, what do you like about remote working?
Yeah, I think like as Soren said, I like the convenience of staying at home and like not having to spend time in transit. Yeah, this is my first co-op, so this like remote working experience has been like the only experience I have to go off for now. But I think it's been great being able to work at home, since it makes taking like a class alongside this co-op a lot more convenient too.
Yeah.
Like I had to like head up to SFU every week for my class, and doing that once a week made me realize like, yeah, I really appreciate this position being remote. Like just being able to save time by staying at home has been great.
Good. One of my things that I like about that this was all remote is that I did not have to be in the office at 9 o'clock to meet up with you guys either. So we've been, I know it's been pretty laid back, and I hope that I haven't spoiled you guys for other opportunities that come along. Alejandro, what's a drawback of the remote stuff that you've maybe noticed?
Maybe that's a good question, because in my first co-op, we were all it was a startup company, so it's fairly small, but we were all in the same room with all our desks, and it was really easy to get someone's attention. Maybe I guess you could say it's a drawback. I could literally turn my desk and ask one of the engineers a technical question. The CTO, which was like the brains behind the operation, was literally sitting on the other side of my display, so I could look over the side and be like, hey Jeff, can you help me with this? So maybe that's one drawback. And maybe just the personal parts. I think maybe it's easier to build better relationships when you have like lunch together, and you actually get to like see your teammates in the mornings and all that. So yeah, maybe that's a little something there.
Okay.
Yeah,
and getting connected, I know that's something that I have struggled with, because we use ClickUp, which is task management. It's great. It's perhaps too great. It has so many great options. And so there's been times where you guys have left me notes, and then I've realized, oh, wait a second, I'm supposed to be monitoring this closely so I can help them with that. And it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, as much as I like the remote thing too, it does demand discipline in other areas. And following through on that discipline is really dependent on ourselves individually, right? To actually think like, oh, okay, I guess I better check this now, as opposed to, oh, I'll just do this in the backyard for a second, or one more YouTube video and then I'll check it, and then stuff like that. So I know that definitely. Any other drawbacks the rest of you are aware of or notice?
I think that's the biggest challenge, is self-discipline. Like so many times I just realize it's like 11 o'clock at night. I haven't done as much as I should have for the day, and I spent like the night working on stuff instead of being in a like conventional job which just locks you in for like 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Like and you're done at 5 o'clock. So yeah.
I think the flip side. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but then again, the flexibility is also really awesome. Like, had it not been for it, I wouldn't have been able to take courses in college while doing the job.
Yeah.
Right.
So because the second semester actually hasn't been a co-op through the school for you. You've been taking the full courses, and then you've also been working. I think probably too, and then we'll get on to talk about the Joomla stuff here. I think the other challenge of remote working is not only actually doing the work, but actually stopping yourself from doing the work too, because at some point, and this is something I've been trying to do just recently, or I'm just recently, but in an ongoing way, where it's just, I just, like the other night, I said, okay, I'm not doing anything else today. And that was the end of my day. And because the computer's always here, there's always something to work on. Your mind is churning on something. Think, oh, wait a second. Oh, what if I try the code here? Or, oh, I know what it is. I'll just go in the database and change that. And it's like, oh, I'll go do it. And there can be no end of that. And so, we've talked a lot over through the time about a balanced life, and it works so you can live, don't live to work. So cool. All right. Yeah. So yesterday on my live stream, we're recording this today on August 18th. Yesterday was Joomla's 17th birthday. So I had a birthday celebration. We looked at what's new in Joomla 4.2. And well into the live stream, I mentioned I was going to do this interview with you guys today. And I said, hey, what questions should I ask? So a bunch of my regulars and people on the live stream came up with some questions. So I kind of organized them in order. So we'll go from here. So Michael Cuff asked, have you made a website by any other method? Rebecca, why don't you go first on that? And we could expand it, even if it's not a whole website, just working on web stuff. What other things have you used, if any?
All right. So I remember in like really early elementary school, I made like a WordPress site with my friends. But
oh, you said the word. You said WordPress on a Joomla. Oh boy! Just a sec. How do I mute you here?
Joomla is better though.
Yeah, we need a profanity filter.
Well. Yeah. But like my more serious answer would be I've been like, I used to volunteer as like the webmaster for the Linguistic Student Union here at SFU, as well as the Language and Brain Lab. So while it wasn't like really like a full-on website making kind of like position, I'd like help update like the information for like articles and stuff like that. So it was like really basic. Yeah, so I'm like still relatively new to web development.
Okay, Soren.
Yeah, I guess I prefer just manually coding the website. I know there are like there's a lot of tools out there, such as Joomla and the forbidden word that we can't mention. There's other ones.
Voldemort. You can mention Voldemort. I have some clients that I work on WordPress sites for, so that's okay. No.
Yeah. So I like to I just feel like you can do a lot of customization doing manually, just writing the HTML code, but I came to learn that it can be quite intense and can get a lot of work and a lot of time commitment. So maybe moving into like Joomla might be the way to go if you want to actually make a professional website for business. I did use another CMS called Adobe Experience Manager. I used this to create web pages for Simon Fraser University students. It was my old job working with the graduate students and the services, and I used it to create profile pages, and it was quite simple to use as well. And I guess one of my favorite IDEs I like to use when I code manually is Atom. Atom.io. It feels pretty lightweight and it doesn't take too much of your memory, and yeah, you could use it anywhere, and the download speed's pretty fast. So
okay, cool. Alejandro.
Yep. So I've used Squarespace. I think was my first experience with the sort of website builder, and that was for my first co-op. And basically, I was just tasked with maintaining the website and updating it as new features were added to the program. So I got well acquainted with that. And then I used that experience, and then through word of mouth, talking to friends at gatherings, I found a friend who needed maintenance on his company website. And I said, hey, I could probably do it. I already have experience doing that. And they were using Wix.
Okay.
WX.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they're actually fairly similar. And I was able to apply the experience I had from the first one to do that. And then my third experience has been with Joomla, which is, I would say, the most different out of those three that I had just mentioned.
Yeah.
So a
And-
slight experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Gurnur?
Yeah, I've actually had experience making websites with just a sort of like core HTML, CSS, and even some JavaScript up to some limited scope. And yeah, recently I've been trying to get into more JavaScript frameworks like React and stuff to make more complicated aspects of the website. That being said, though, Joomla definitely makes it much more easier to create websites, especially if you're not, I would say, if you're not that technically knowledgeable or advanced in this field of coding and stuff. I think Joomla, WordPress, or for that matter, like any of the CMS, definitely make it much easier.
And now when I interviewed you guys, I was really clear that there would be no coding, not very much coding in this co-op because well, just by the nature, I mean, of the clients that I get and attract and the sites I'm working on, I don't, and me not being a coder, I'm really not going to have as much contact with people who need coding, although some people do contact me and I help them find a way, or maybe I can find someone to do it. But yeah, because that as computer science students, when I was looking at resumes and people applying, I just looked for any hint of something that if they'd done anything, if it just said HTML or helped with a website for a coffee shop or something like that, just to differentiate from the others that didn't have that experience. So that's interesting, and it's also interesting to hear your reactions because Soren likes to do the coding in the raw HTML and do things. Gurnur, you mentioned React and other languages, and I know that there are Joomla developers that are really super excited about React and some of those other things that I recognize their names and for them working in their development. So there certainly is in the Joomla ecosphere room for all of that coding at just a much higher level than what or different sphere than what we have been doing it in. All right, so did you find Joomla easy to use? Gurnur, you said that it was easier for building a website. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? Did you find Joomla easy to use?
Yeah, I agree. I think Joomla is like overall like easy to pick up and learn. I'd say like there's a lot to take in during like the first week or so when like Tim and Gurnur were training us every day and getting us up to speed. But I think like after that it was like it went a lot better. It was like smooth sailing, and I think yeah, Joomla is really user friendly and easy to use for sure.
I remember that with Gurnur in a couple of weeks into his first co-op, his first time with me, and I was thinking like, oh, I gotta find something easy for him to start working on, because it was just like pouring a fire hose of information and do this and here's an extension. Here, let me talk to you about modules, and here's something. Oh, now if we're going to move the site from here to there, we're going to use Akiba. Let's log in. We have to upload Kickstart. You get it from here, and here's this extension. I thought, okay, I mean, it's all sort of core stuff that that's needed to start to do those basics. And I remember having that same thought with you all as well during the summer thing. Like, oh, we got it. We'll get, and I would say to you, pretty soon we'll be working on stuff, but it was always like, hey, check out this extension here, make a form on your sample site here, try this, read this, do this. And I was like, okay, we've got to get them doing actual stuff. So there is that steep learning curve, and you guys have, you guys handle it really well. Plus there's the other thing too, someone that is not doing this for a co-op or full-time or part of their job, they're going to pick up little things along the way, trying to do their own site. And maybe, hopefully, they're going to find in the documentation or by Google, or maybe I have a video on my channel that will help them, and they'll get those little bits. But I will also say this, that you guys are really, really quick picking stuff up, and there's times too where I thought, I wonder if they know about this, or if they're ready for this. And I shake my head. Wait a second, Tim, they're in university studying computer science. Just that they're fine. They're smarter than you are, and they're faster, they're quicker. And so I'm not surprised that you guys quickly were doing stuff with Joomla sites, and with one of the most complex sites that I have this summer, the Smart Drive test, because it was crazy throwing you into that. Let's see. I cannot read that. What were your expectations compared to what you actually experienced? So starting out in the co-op, talking about what we'd be doing, what were your expectations, and how are they different from what you actually experienced?
Let me see. Well, we worked on websites, which was gonna be a gimme. I guess if I think about the Joomla aspect of it, it definitely works differently than I thought it did with my previous experience websites. So it was definitely humbling to get to know Joomla and see how it's put pages together.
I think for me, like when we started the co-op, I think we started with just updating stuff and adding those updating security stuff on the htaccess files, and just thought, oh man, it's all going to be like text-based stuff that we're going to be doing, just updating sites and whatnot. But as we progressed along, obviously we were making and designing websites. So that was definitely the part I enjoyed the most, actually designing, and anything that there's visual stuff to it. I think that was really nice.
Mm-hmm. And back in January, I was still not sure what I was going to use for my company as a default template system. And Gunur and I looked at Template Creator CK, and we looked at another template system that's very popular. And so Template CK is like we're just kind of stuck. And it wasn't even so much me saying, hey, I'll show you how to use this. It's like, I got to figure out how to use this. Let's look at it. And then I'd leave it with Gunur. And then it's okay, let's try this other one, because we got stuck on Template Creator CK. And then we were making headway on that together, but then we were trying to put a menu that was vertical down a column instead of horizontal. And it was like, I don't know. So anyways, we kind of left that. And I think the next time we got together, next meeting or something, you'd been playing with Template Creator CK and said, oh, here, look, this is what I found out. And then, that helped the lights come on for me and for Gunur. And that's what we've been working on. And so now each of you know how to not only create a template in Template Creator CK, but you've been, I think each of you have taken existing sites and recreated a template in anticipation of moving it to Joomla 4 at some point. So definitely you guys have been involved in the design aspect of that. Anything else that any other differences you can think of, what you expected and what you actually experienced?
I wasn't expecting being able to use all of these really nice and wonderful Joomla extensions to help us in our work, but I was really glad that Joomla felt beginner friendly, and that I could hone my programming skills along the way during this co-op, since knowing stuff like HTML and CSS felt more of an asset to better customize the things that we worked on in Joomla. But yeah, I think my experience with Joomla has been really educational, relaxing, and fun.
Yeah, good. Some of my favorite moments have been when you guys have shown me something that you've done on a site or you're doing, and I've got, how did you do that? Show me how to do that. So in fact, I think probably on Maximenu CK, of the five of us, I probably know it the least, because you guys have been using it more. And the other day when we were on, I said, okay, I want to try this. Where do I go to change this? And then you guys will tell me and talk and be very patient, stuff like that. So that is good. All right. Let's see that. So that question was from William Reed. And actually, Mary had asked, did you find Joomla easy to use? William Reed asked about your expectations of that. So now, Alexandra Elise, what surprised you the most with Joomla?
Oh, I guess it was like how open source it is, and I wasn't expecting it to be free because since it's like used in a bunch of like mainstream websites as well, using Joomla. Yeah, that was quite unexpected. So like anyone could use it, and it's like and then there's so much customization you could do as well if you know some PHP, and there's like a bunch of plugins out there you can download at your disposal. So yeah, it's Joomla is pretty user friendly and versatile. So yeah, I was a bit surprised of that. So
Good.
I
Any
was
other
actually
surprises?
Yeah, I was actually surprised by the number of websites that are actually hosted on Joomla. To be very fair, like I did not know of Joomla. I think before I started this co-op, I'd heard of WordPress a little, right? But then when you look at the stat, it's probably like the second most popular place to host websites, and that's really crazy.
Yeah, for CMSs, is it second? It's, I mean, it's certainly way less than WordPress, but still,
I think
it's
it's still second.
still millions of sites that are
Yeah.
running on Joomla when you look at even at the small percentage. Cool. Any other surprises about Joomla?
I'd say like adding on to my earlier response about extensions, the sheer number of extensions surprised me a lot in Joomla because like there's so many versatile extensions, and there seems to be like an existing extension for like anything you'd ever want to implement. So I think like that also like yeah contributes to my previous point about Joomla being super user friendly
Yeah.
because you don't necessarily need to like code everything yourself when you have all of these existing resources to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna add maybe to I guess what everyone else is saying, but it's almost like there's a sense of community because there's all these developers that are actively, releasing content for Joomla developers to use, for website makers to use. So yeah, that's really nice feel.
All right. So Allison asked from AM Graphics, she asked, what would you like to see in Joomla? And that sort of maybe piggybacks too with William's question here. From what you've experienced in Joomla so far, what do you feel is lacking in Joomla? So as new users, new Joomlers, I think that's the term, Joomlers. I just got a bit, I don't know, Joomler doesn't roll off the tongue. You got to be Joomlites or something. No, light is too light. Anyways, well, maybe there's something official I'm not aware of. But what would you like to see, or what do you think is missing? Also realizing too that I have not been able to show you everything in all this time because there's so much, and because there's so much I don't know still. So
yeah, I guess going with the topic of the plugins, I think it's a benefit to have all these plugins, but it's also can be something lacking because I found that in order to get Joomla running properly and making the templates from the get-go, you need to know or be aware of a bunch of plugins to install, and sometimes it can be quite difficult knowing beforehand, just getting started with Joomla. So like to actually, like, for example, making a web template, you need to know CK template or CK web page builder, and sometimes that information is kind of hard to find, like just knowing that you need to have these in order to start making a website. I was thinking like it would be nice to have like maybe like a default template builder for Joomla to just just get started with something simple, and then you can like add to it.
Okay. No, that's a really good observation there, because and I can hear Joomla people screaming at me, "What, Tim Davis, what have you been doing to these people?" Because there is a lot that you can do with the core of Joomla, and you customizations and template overrides, and there's lots of things that you can do. For me, because of I use a lot of extensions to do things because it's quicker and easier, and I don't I avoid the learning curve of doing everything with the core, but the core is very powerful. So that's very interesting, because someone with the skills that you have would probably, that you guys have, would probably very easily be able to pick up how to use just Joomla itself and not these other extensions. So in that sense, you have that impression, because I've just been throwing plugins at you saying, here's what we use, here's what we have. Part of that too being because the sites I build for clients, if I'm going to hand them over to them and they're going to work on them themselves, they're not going to learn all that custom stuff. I need to be able to say, hey, if you want to move a module or do this, just go here, drag a box over, do this other things, and they're happy for the WYSIWYGier, easier way than what you can do with the course. So you can do a lot of things without. You can build great Joomla sites without any plugins. So but that's okay. That's a great observation. And as I'm interested too that you have that perspective after this. So that's good. What else would you like to see?
Okay. I think one of the biggest things for me is how can I say this, is the backwards compatibility for Joomla. Now I realized like much of the stuff that we've been doing this semester is actually converting the older sites and making them ready for the newer Joomla 4. Mm-hmm. That's coming along, and it's probably like shooting yourself in the foot. But I think Joomla 4 or any other further additions to Joomla, I think it should be more backwards compatible to support the existing extensions, because when it doesn't happen, it just leaves like tons of sites. It just ignores like a tons of websites, and which would eventually stop functioning if they're not upgraded properly. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something that should be incorporated in the future. And yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I know that in open source and in other CMSs, there's a struggle between the programming, the lead by developers to use the newest stuff and take advantage of the newest stuff, and then there are the developers and the users who are trying to still use the stuff that they have. And right now, even a year in, after Joomla 4 coming out, there's some big extensions that people are used to using that they can't move into a Joomla 4 site yet, because the developer has not finished bringing them being compatible with Joomla 4. And if I understand right, one of the issues, one of the things in WordPress that holds them back from a code perspective, is that they have tried to keep from breaking previous versions as they make changes, but they're also very trapped with, there's a lot of new stuff that they can't be doing because it would just break so many old things, and they don't want to create problems for people. So that's a great observation, because you have been working on a lot of working on a lot of current stuff and looking back at what doesn't work. And that's not always a perspective that developers have when they're doing the latest, greatest stuff, as opposed, because they're actually looking forward and wondering why people are behind them, instead of saying, here I am, oh, why am I so far ahead of these people? And it's a give and take. It's an interesting balance, and it causes lots of discussion and sometimes conflict and frustration inside of the community too. And anyone else?
I think let me see, if you had asked me a couple months or before I started using Page Builder, CK, I maybe would have said something along the lines of some sort of like page preview option. I wish maybe you could see what a page would look like without actually having to, I'm not sure if I'm making any sense, but yeah, if you could see what a page would turn out like without actually having to implement it on the website and then going on the website itself on the internet. Mm-hmm. I remember when the first, like at the beginning, the trial of Joomla, I was definitely a bit confused about how the navigation of the menus actually worked and what actually led to creating a new page. Like, when you first make an article, you maybe would think, oh, this just creates a new page, but no, you make the article and then you actually have to make a menu item point to it or something along those lines. So I just wish there was a preview option, but with Page Builder, you can kind of like, it's almost like what you see is what you get,
Yeah.
or what you build is what you get. You can see it in real time. So when you actually go and implement it on the page, you're not that surprised of like, oh, why is this up here and this down there, or
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're moving along quickly here. Just a few things left. So Justine Simon asked, would you recommend Joomla to others, and if so, why? Or maybe if so, when?
Yes, I would recommend Joomla to others, because I think, like, as the others have also said, it's really user friendly, and there are a lot of things in place, such as like the extensions that make it like so that you don't necessarily have to have like this coding knowledge to be able to make really nice things in Joomla. And so as for like when, I think using a CMS like Joomla is like a great starting point if you want to get into like things like web development, or not, like if you just want to like make a really powerful website with like a pre-existing template, that's fine too. Like, yeah, there's so many like great options there that like look and feel great to use, and you don't need to have like a lot of background knowledge to be able to implement all of these things. So I think that's great.
Yeah, for myself, I'm actually pretty biased. I don't use too much CMS other than Adobe Experience Manager, but still, I would still recommend it for beginners. It's really easy to learn. There's a lot of tutorials out there, and there's a wide community for that. And it's also free. It's open source, and you could start today and download it on the Joomla website. So yeah, that's the great thing. It's free. So yeah, and there's a lot of experimentation you could do as well, and a bunch of plugins that great developers made. So yeah, try it out.
Yeah.
I too would suggest it. There's, like I said, there's a large community. There's lots of help to be found online, and there's people willing to help. And there's even many channels like Tim's channel, and yeah, lots of help available, so anyone can make a website and start learning how to make one in no time.
I would say, like, although yeah, it's actually really powerful too, it might be a little bit challenging to get into when compared to stuff like Wix or Squarespace, which are like incredibly easy. However, I think Joomla has much more functionality and much more options. You just gotta stick with it. Just as Alejandro mentioned before, there's just a lot of options. There's articles, there's tags, there's categories, there's modules, and a ton of that stuff, which might seem intimidating at first. It's like, oh, how do I view this thing, right? Or why is this page not showing up? Or where's the menu item to it and stuff like that. But yeah, once you understand to get over the basics of it, I think it's definitely powerful too. It's for a free tool, it's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the spectrum that your answers cover really shows that there's a lot of different ways to do Joomla and different users, and so you can, we've worked on some pretty complex sites, but we've also worked on some, there's a site that Gunnar built for someone who teaches violin lessons, and actually had a very simple site in another format that someone had built for them, and they just wanted to have something. Just something of their own, and they're probably maybe hardly ever, if ever, going to log into the back end of their site, but they just wanted something very basic with those features. The other thing too is even starting with just doing something basic, Joomla is so expandable. When someone comes in and says, "Hey, now I want to have a calendar," or I want to start selling some socks that I'm knitting. It's like, oh, okay. And I will get you a little e-commerce solution or something like that. So great. Now, two things. Allison mentioned yesterday, was going to ask this question. Have you heard about the GSOC, Google Summer of Code? Have you heard of that before I tipped you guys off that we're going to talk about this?
No.
Okay.
But yeah.
I thought it was something really interesting. So I'm going to share a screen here. And let me just share. So yeah, Google Summer of Code. And basically, this is programs 2022. Let me just go to the place here. Yeah, so Google Summer of Code is a global online program focused on bringing new contributors into open source software development. And GSOC contributors work with an open source organization on a 12+ week programming project under the guidance of mentors. And so this is something that some things that have actually made it into Joomla, into the core, that students have worked on with a mentor. So they've been able to bring their coding experience and training and learn, get some mentorship on how to apply it in the Joomla ecosphere. And so one of the things that we saw yesterday that is now in Joomla 4.2 is an accessibility little, for lack of a better, I don't know the proper term, but widget. And when you click on the symbol, it opens up tools to allow you to change font size, the colors that are being seen. You can change the spaces between letters or between words, and a bunch of things you can do for accessibility. And that is in Joomla as a result of a Google Summer of Code student who worked with some Joomla. Oh, my phone is hearing me say Google and it wants to do some searches now. That was mentored. So I went and looked at here in 2022, and I think that I can find it here. Let's go view 2022 projects, and there are 1141 pages with 50 per page. So what's 50 times? Let's see, half of that. Anyways, there's a lot. I won't do the math on the fly. But what I searched for, I did a quick search for Joomla here, and we can see this was accessibility plugin. But one that I knew was not here yet was this guided tour. And so I clicked on it. And this programmer here is working this summer on developing a guided tour for Joomla, which I guess is when someone maybe installs it, they get a guided tour to move through it or something that they can take. And these are mentors in the Joomla community. Some of them I recognize their names, some of them I don't. The technologies that they're using, MySQL, JavaScript, other things. So I just was going to mention that to you, that even though your experience with me has been very light on programming and very, from Soren's comments too, picking up very light on actually just working in the core, and that there's lots of opportunities to be involved in Joomla and to talk about the importance of community. I think it was Alejandro that mentioned that through this program. So I thought I'd just bring that to your attention or just mention it. And maybe people watching this don't realize that Google is sponsoring students to be mentored by other Joomla people to add contributions to Joomla as an open source project. So I thought that was really interesting. And then on the heels of that, I thought I would also just share with you this page here, which is the Joomla Volunteers portal. And this is another opportunity for people with all kinds of different skills. So you guys have some advanced skills that I don't have, but there's all kinds of teams in Joomla that you can see what they're doing. You can contact them. You could maybe volunteer. You could be a part of that. I know you guys are very busy students as well, but as far as that connection to if you've got programming skills, if you've got interests, if you've got abilities, and you're looking to connect to a community and be involved in that, Joomla is a great place to land as far as that aspect too, because eventually you guys are all going to graduate, and you're going to do your dream stuff. I think, like Alejandro, I think you're next to you're going to graduate first. You've got 1 year left. You want to do stuff with e-bikes. So you're going to be working on e-bikes, but you're also going to have all this tech experience, and you might think, hey, I'm going to, maybe you have some friends in Joomla, or you're working on something, or you're building a web page for your e-bike business or enterprise and your channel, and you think, I think I get involved in something and help program or test or something like that. But for all of you, that's the other great thing about for me, for Joomla. I really enjoy the community and the friends that I've made, and so it's sort of what we have had this summer together on steroids, at least based in Joomla, without the restriction of me only knowing a certain area. It's sort of like wide open field. So I thought I would mention that to you because Joomla's always looking for volunteers, and you guys would be great. Any last comments before I make last comments about Joomla, about world politics, anything like that? No, let's not do world politics.
Oh my. Yeah, no, I was looking through the website as well. The Google, the Summer of Code. It's very interesting. It's looks like an amazing opportunity for people to learn and see what they can really do.
Okay. Well, I just am going to wrap up by embarrassing you all because I think you guys are all great. And not only do I think you're great, I like each of you as well. And I'm very proud of the work that you've done. And it's just been so great. It's been just a real blessing in my business as well. And for me, and I've been saying to people, I don't know if I said it to you guys, but this whole having a team and the training aspect and making sure you guys always have stuff that you can be working on. And then, as part of the funding for this, I had to have you on payroll, actually be employees of my company. I had to learn all of that. So as your co-op time with me is ending, I feel like I'm at the end of a co-op as well, because I've had to learn so many things. And so I've enjoyed each and every one of you. I mean, this is not by here in the call because we still have, Alejandro's done tomorrow, but then we still have another week. But I just want to say publicly to everybody that it has been really great. And you guys have not only in learning and being teachable and being a different part of the team, individually as human beings, I really like you guys. You guys are really great. And I know that wherever you guys end up next and wherever you end up permanently or in the stages along, that whoever gets to have contact with you or that is either that has you working for them or is working for you, whatever happens, that they're going to be really benefit and blessed for being in contact with you guys. So it's been super exciting. I wish I could keep you. I wish I could just put you all in a jar and keep you on a shelf. No, no, especially now with where you are. But I also am super excited for what you guys have done in your co-ops and what you know of Joomla and what you know for experience in building pages and other things. Those are really valuable tools for an employer. I'm really happy that to know that, and you guys should be confident to be able to say this. If you're in a meeting, they say, hey, we need to do some stuff. Someone needs to look at the website. We need to do something. That you guys could each confidently say, yeah, you know what? I did a co-op one summer building web pages and that. So let me look at it. And you know that Joomla pretty well. So you might be able to say, hey, you know what? That e-commerce solution is not working. Let's look at this, or and maybe even recommend Joomla if it works out. So thank you very much for all the great things that you've brought to my company and brought to my life by being part of this co-op.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us too. It was
Thanks, Tim.
great.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do my traditional sign off here. Everybody watching, thanks for watching. I appreciate your support for this channel. If you haven't subscribed, do so, and for live streams and other things happening. But again, thanks for tuning in. As usual, I hope wherever you are, be it morning, afternoon, evening, or tomorrow, that this finds you well. And until the next time, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless. Everybody wave and we'll fade to black.
Don't forget to push the bell icon.
Oh yes, don't forget to push the bell icon.
Like,
Soren,
comment, and subscribe.
comment and subscribe, and send money. That would be fine too. All right,
absolutely.
thanks you guys.
Thank you.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye.